Hello, I'm Gunrunner Gomez, and welcome to the Gun Room. Today on the Gun Room, we get to do a review of the HushTech BackCountry 36 caliber, which I'm holding in my tiny little fingers here. The HushTech BackCountry 36 caliber is a new product that is about to be released, has not been released yet. This is actually a prototype with serial number 01, which is awesome. Even though it's a prototype, it's still a legal suppressor, and it's still something that has to be tracked by the NFA for we the people in the non-free states. Kids in the future, this will probably not make sense, but there was a time where you'd have to register certain firearms with the federal government because they said you weren't responsible to keep one, even though they've lost nuclear weapons, but that's neither here nor there. So if you're watching this in the future, you have to do a little bit of history research. Anyway, so back to the review of the HushTech BackCountry. So this BackCountry suppressor is the first of its kind. They are working on a different version as well, which I can just drop that Easter egg, and that's all I can say about that. So more to follow on that one. So HushTech BackCountry 36 caliber. Basically, if you've seen any of my videos before, I take the suppressor, I run some ammo through it. Obviously before that, I will take the firearm and run some ammo through that, take a bunch of numbers, get a baseline, compare the baseline to the final suppressed product, depending on what kind and how many different types of that same caliber ammo I run through it, and then I give you the results at the end. Question? Nope. Easy. Great. All right, let's move forward. So with that, suppressor specs here is 36 caliber, so you can safely run anything from 0.375 inch to 0.380 inch projectiles. There's a big list in there, so you know, do with that as you will. Can you run smaller stuff through there? Sure. Will it be as effective? Probably not. Do I recommend it? No. I never recommend you do anything that is not suggested or implied or straight up told by the manufacturer, especially when it comes to firearms. I mean, when you think about it, you've got a controlled pipe bomb right by your face. That the only thing that's keeping it from blowing up in your face is whatever steel is around your firearm there in your barrel and your chamber. So, you know, you always want to be as careful and cautious as possible so that you don't end up an internet meme for the rest of your life. All right, so 36 caliber. This one measures about 6¼ inch by 5¼ inch wide, and that's measuring up to the adapter. As you know, or as some of you know, HushTech offers a series of different adapters, so you can find the right thread pitch for your firearm and get yourself settled in right there. So, yeah, 6¼ inches by 1.5 inch wide. It weighs somewhere between 14 and 16 ounces. I'm not being very specific with it because, again, this is, oh, that was cool. I'm not going to be super specific with it because this is a prototype. It is, again, a real one, but it is a prototype. So when the final product comes out, HushTech will give you all the specs that you need for that. In order to run this caliber, unfortunately, I was only able to get one brand and type of ammo, and that's the Winchester White Box, the practice ammo, chambered in 350 Legend, or excuse me, 350 Legend ammo. Were there a bunch of other ammo types in the store? Yeah. Did we want to test them? No. And the reason why is when I'm looking at these, you know, ammo to run through your suppressor, you can run whatever you want through your suppressor that, again, is within the specs that the manufacturer makes. But this was the lowest velocity ammunition I could find. I couldn't find anything slower online. And this ammunition, the Winchester White Box, 2,250 feet per second at the muzzle. And it's just the slowest one they had. You know, they had other ones that are a lot faster. You're going to get a more definitive crack and a sonic boom. So it's going to make any suppressor less suppressor-ish. So I didn't waste the time. So one and done on this one. So my wallet thanked me for that one. So that was good. But yeah, so this is 145 grain, full metal jacket, and again, 2,200 feet per second. For the rifle, I used a Ruger American 350 Legend with a 23-inch barrel, basic simple bolt gun with a threaded barrel, and then of course with and without our super cool HushTech BackCountry. So the testing process that I almost always use, and in this case I did use that, same practice, is I measure 12-inch from the barrel. So I have a sound meter, and it's a decent one, right? It's not a super scientific lab where I'm in an enclosed room with overpressure and sound blocking, so all you get is that. I'm outside usually in my back range, and so you'll hear some other ambient noises like, oh, I don't know, my dogs, turkeys that go by, the hawk that keeps cawing overhead, pick a thing, cars, neighbors, whatever. Anyway, oh yeah, this is Velociraptor season, so there were some in the area as well, in the woods. So yeah, that you heard that as well. So anyway, so testing process is 12 inches from the barrel. I'll hold my meter out, or I'll have it, mounted on a tripod. I also have a fixed mount for the rifle. The rifle sits on a tripod itself, so there's no moving and bopping around away or closer to the the sound meter. It just sits right by the sound meter, and then we pull the trigger. We're aiming at a random tree stump in this case, out in the wood line, and that's that. Nothing fancy, nothing special. And then we wait 30 seconds between each shot to give it enough time for the additional gases to dissipate out of the suppressor. Most everything I read online says that as soon as you fire the suppressor, all the gases are gone. But when I still see a little bit of smoke behind, I like to give it the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, maybe I'll just let that cool off for 30 seconds and then fire the next shot. I use an interval timer for that as well to make that as consistent as possible, to try to remove as much human error as possible from the testing. And then last but not least, I will take all of the data, I will analyze it, record the results, and make a super cool video here for everyone to enjoy. Couple of housekeeping notes before we move further. Everything that I do here is completely above board. Everything is within the letter of the law to ensure that nobody, including myself, but mostly myself, doesn't get in trouble. Again, for those of us that are still registering suppressors, this is a registered suppressor. It is an NFA item, and this one is still tracked by the NFA. So please, please, please follow your federal laws with regards to NFA items. In addition to federal laws, there are some state and local laws that those politicians and law enforcement apply as well. Again, be cognizant of all those laws and ensure that you're working within them to keep yourself out of trouble. Up next, you're going to see a video of me looking dashing and dapper as always, shooting my Ruger American rifle, both suppressed and unsuppressed, so you can see and hear the sound difference and the gas that's coming out of the end of the muzzle as well as the end of the suppressor, so you can tell the difference between suppressed and unsuppressed fire. One little side quest I want to throw in before we go to the video is safety. In this video, I'm shooting in my own property. There's a backstop at the end, and there is no additional habitable property behind me, so it is extremely safe. Kept the weapon downrange all the time, and made sure to follow the 4 basic rules of firearm safety. Whether it's your first day or your 10,000th day shooting a firearm, you should know these rules of safety like the back of your hand. So let's go over them real quick. Number 1, treat every firearm like it's loaded. Number 2, never ever point your firearm at anything you don't want to kill or destroy. Number 3 is a 2-part rule. First and foremost, keep your booger hook off the bang switch until you're ready to go bang. And if you have an external safety, click that safety on when you're not using it, click it off when you're firing, and then repeat. And last but not least, always know what's in front of and behind your target. So we're here, we have the 350 Legend. We're in the backyard range. Rifle's pointing in a safe direction. We're going to run our unsuppressed so you can hear how the rifle sounds without a suppressor on there. Now we're aiming at a random tree stump, so nothing exciting, not looking for that big white tail or anything like that, just want to hear the sound. Okay, same rifle, same ammo load, The only difference now is we've added the HushTech BackCountry chambered in 36 caliber. Again, rifle is pointed in the safe direction in the backyard range. We're just hitting an old tree stump. Let's see how she sounds suppressed. All right, making her safe. Let's go review the data on our charts. Boy, wasn't that riveting and exciting. Now that we're back in the gun room, let's go over some of the data we collected, shall we? So first shot right out of the gate, unsuppressed, was 103.4 decibel. Again, I do not have a professional decibel meter, so these numbers they're going to be accurate on my meter, and the overall point that I'm trying to make across is the overall sound reduction. HushTech will release their own official numbers in the future. So first shot, unsuppressed, 103.4 decibels, right? So pretty loud, pretty high. And as we went through those 10 rounds, it reduced overall in time. Now unsuppressed, or excuse me, in suppressed, the first shot was 93.3 decibels. So pretty big reduction there right off the bat. And when you go down to the end to the completely suppressed last round, it was 90.9 decibels according to my meter, which gave us an overall reduction of about 12.5 decibels on average, which is not too bad at all. Is it safe to use without hearing protection? Yes, I'd say yes. And as we know, any reduction in the sound of the firearm is safer for you, and of course, will also hide your position a little bit better. So if you do miss that beautiful whitetail you're trying to get, maybe it'll give you another chance to take a second shot and actually not miss this time. So with that being said, overall, it was a positive result and review of the suppressor. If you watch the video, you could see the gases and you could hear the sound, I guess, shooting forward of the muzzle that was a lot more controlled under the suppressor. So really good results there at the end. With that being said, it's like anything else, there's pros and cons, right? So you have to give to take, and you want to make sure that you get the best balanced product for the best balanced price overall. Like any other product, there are pros and cons to this suppressor. Overall, I think the suppressor did really well, but let's go over a couple of the pros and cons that I found while using the suppressor. First and foremost, it's a suppressor. It's cool. It looked really cool at the end of my rifle. I've got this one in the raw here, so when I order mine, I'm gonna pick a color, probably green, to match my rifle, as it's the only 36 caliber thing I've got right now. And if I don't like it, I can always put a cover on it later. But I'm sure I'm gonna love it because, again, HushTech does their Cerakoting in-house, and they do a fantastic job with that product. It reduced sound. 12.5 decibel is a great reduction in sound, which will help preserve your hearing and make it safer to shoot for others around you. Reduced recoil. I don't know if you could see it in the video, but unsuppressed versus suppressed, there was definitely a difference in the felt recoil of the firearm with a suppressor on versus not having one at all. Another super cool thing that HushTech does is they have interchangeable muzzle adapters. So you're not stuck with just one thread pitch and hope that you can get your guns to fit. You can get your suppressor to fit your guns, which to me makes a lot more sense. Relatively easy to clean. As you can see, you can pop it open. You've got access to the first baffle and the other baffles in between. Since it is a large bore, you can get stuff in there easier to clean, and there are methods you can use, which I'll cover in another video. And last but not least, value for the money. The plan is to retail this out between $300 to $400. Like any other product, there are pros and cons to this suppressor. Overall, I think the suppressor did really well, but let's go over a couple of the pros and cons that I found while using the suppressor. First and foremost, it's a suppressor. It's cool. It looked really cool at the end of my rifle. I've got this one in the raw here, so when I order mine, I'm gonna pick a color, probably green, to match my rifle. As it's the only 36 caliber thing I've got right now. And if I don't like it, I can always put a cover on it later. But I'm sure I'm going to love it because, again, HushTech does their Cerakoting in-house, and they do a fantastic job with that product. It reduced sound. 12.5 decibel is a great reduction in sound, which will help preserve your hearing and make it safer to shoot for others around you. Reduced recoil. I don't know if you could see it in the video, but unsuppressed versus suppressed, there was definitely a difference in the felt recoil of the firearm with a suppressor on versus not having one at all. In the sound of the firearm is safer for you, and of course will also hide your position a little bit better, so if you do miss that beautiful whitetail you're trying to get, maybe it'll give you another chance to take a second shot and actually not miss this time. So with that being said, overall it was a positive result and review of the suppressor. If you watch the video, you could see the gases and you could hear the sound, I guess, shooting forward of the muzzle. That was a lot more controlled under the suppressor, so really good results there at the end. With that being said, it's like anything else, there's pros and cons, right? So you have to give to take, and you want to make sure that you get the best balanced product for the best balanced price overall. So overall, considering the cost, considering the materials, considering the performance, I give the suppressor a 3.75. Really good suppressor, really good for the money based on the price range they're saying. The only thing that kept it from getting a higher star is the ability to completely disassemble for complete cleaning, and B, just wanting a little more sound reduction. Not a bad score at all, just again, personal preferences. So that's all I've got for you folks today. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and feel free to share this video with your friends. And remember, at the end of the day, that steel don't lie, so run your gun, not your mouth. And last but not least is your value for your money. I don't know where HushTech is going to land on the final price of this thing, but they did say that it's going to be somewhere between $300 and $400. So being able to find a 36 caliber suppressor, a good quality steel, 12-7 steel quality suppressor for under $400 is a pretty good buy in my book. So overall, considering the cost, considering the materials, considering the performance, I give this suppressor a 3.75. Really good suppressor, really good for the money based on the price range they're saying. The only thing that kept it from getting a higher star is the ability to completely disassemble for complete cleaning, and B, just wanting a little more sound reduction. Not a bad score at all, just again, personal preferences. So that's all I've got for you folks today. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, and feel free to share this video with your friends. And remember, at the end of the day, that steel don't lie, so run your gun, not your mouth.